Sal, who is very passionate, as you know.
And realistic.
Yeah,
like
generally.
realistic, yeah.
No, generally. And it's one of your best qualities. So it was a stark I'm genuinely confused. It was a stark contrast to what you've projected the last couple of weeks on and off the air, which I would say there's been a lot of trepidation about the Mets' ability to land some of these big studs. And Sal comes waltzing in today as cocksure, as confident, as arrogant, really, and is absolutely locked in that the Mets are going to crush it this offseason. And I don't know what the hell changed from yesterday.
Can I explain why?
I think you need to.
You ready? I believe in Steve, BT. Forget Ohtani. That's not happening. Forget Juan Soto. That's not happening for the Mets. I believe in Steve. King Cohen is going to get Yamamoto. I feel it. I felt, you're right. I was skeptical. Maybe I was a little nervous. Maybe I had that same old Mets type feel that you know all too well with the Jets.
I do.
And then I thought about it yesterday, and I was like, you know what? The Mets are getting this guy. I believe in Steve. And if I believe in Steve Cohen and if the Mets are going to change things around here since he took over ownership, this is the move to get it done. Steve Cohen is going to go all in to get Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and I believe they are going to land the 25-year-old potential superstar, and it will be the beginning of the shift in this town from the Yankees to the Mets taking it over.
I feel badly for you.
Why?
You know why?
Because I believe in Steve?
No, because I feel like I'm looking at myself here. I finally know what I can see it.
We are bald, yes.
Yeah. A little facial hair. The imagery, like the visual, when I'm resistant to the Jets' fate often, you're doing the same thing here. Not that you can't be right, all right? But here's the reason I feel bad is it's based on hope, which is kind of bled into belief, which is great. But you don't control this situation. All Yamamoto's got to do is say, get me to the Bronx.
Right.
And that's where it's derailed.
See, that's where I started to go sideways a little bit.
Okay, but why? Why did this change?
So I always believed Steve Cohen was going to have the highest offer for Yamamoto. I believe the same thing for Ohtani, but Ohtani apparently wants no part of New York. So I believed Cohen was going to have the highest offer, and then I saw the report from Andy Martino, which I believe that Yamamoto is intrigued by playing for the Pinstripes. And then I reverted back to, hating the Yankees, the Yankee dynasty feel, all those old feelings crept back up.
I like when you do that.
No, I don't.
That's good for the show.
So all those old feelings came back in. I was like, the dejected, beaten down Met fans started to come out. I was frustrated with the Mendy hire, taking him from the Yankees initially, all these different things. By the way, I love that hire now. Yeah. Mendy's the man. So I was frustrated by all these different things and thinking, God, this guy, the one guy the Mets need, he's going to prefer the Pinstripes. I'm sick of it. I've had it. I'm beaten down. I waved the white flag. It's over. He's going to the Yankees. But then I woke up yesterday. And you didn't want to do this yesterday. We wanted to stick to Jets, and it was fun talking Jets. Yeah. But I woke up yesterday feeling, you know what? I believe in Steve. He's getting this done. I believe in Steve. He's got the most money. I mean, we're talking about the Pinstripes, sure, but the Pinstripes aren't what they used to be. Just ask Zach Britton. And if the Mets are offering the most money, let's say $20 million more, $30 million more, it's going to be north of $200 million to get Yamamoto. I believe the Mets are going to get him. And so do you. So we're in agreement here.
Well, I have. I really never thought he was going to come to the Yankees until Andy had the article, and there's been some other intimations that it's Yankees, Mets, or maybe Dodgers, and that there is a bit of a preference for the Yankee Pinstripes over, what the Mets have. I listen, from day one, I thought Yamamoto was going to the Mets. I thought that Senga relationship, which, people identified a while ago, I thought that was real, and it still might be. The more this goes on, I don't really know what to believe, but I still do believe, here's where I'm with you. I believe in Steve's willingness to spend.
Right. So it's not delusional that I'm saying this.
No, it's not. I purposely didn't use that word.
Well, right, but believing in Zach Wilson and the Jets and whatever, Well, I get that. No, I get that I'm delusional too, but in this regard, I don't think that I am.
No, I would just say, okay, then what's next there? Because I do think it's, I wouldn't even use the word, but it's maybe a massive leap of faith to think that you get more than Yamamoto, which you need, which I think is you kind of burying the. Let's say that Sal's right.
Right.
All right. Let's say that Sal's right, and in his words, King Cohen delivers Yamamoto, the prized 25-year-old Japanese import with sick numbers, who also threw 137 pitches in the championship game. Hopefully not an issue down the road in the chilly Northeast weather in April and May and September. But and he's here, and he's a New York Met. What else are they doing that's going to actually make them compete with the Braves? Because you keep telling me they're not going to be on Soto and they're not going to get Ohtani.
Right.
So why are the Mets going to be good even with Yamamoto?
Well, I do think it's going to be one of those, they're going to be good but not great type years. And if it's not Yamamoto, they'll be competitive to a certain extent, but they have a big problem because they don't have an ace. They have a star closer. They have some decent bats in that lineup, some all-star bats, and they need an ace. That's the first thing that they're desperately missing. So once they plug that hole with Yamamoto, now it's on. Now, do I think they're going to go out there and get big-name bats? No, but they're going to upgrade DH over what they had in Daniel Vogelbach. He's gone. Bye-bye, Vogie. See you later. And the Mets will get a real bat to help out Lindor and Alonso. Maybe you get bounce-back years from Pete with the average, from McNeil. Who knows about Marte? I don't think the Mets are going to build a lot differently than what they had in the last couple of years.
Okay.
But I think they'll make enough tweaks to make them an 80-plus, 85, in that range win team, enough to get in the postseason, and then you take your chances and you see what happens.
And maybe pick up somebody midseason if you get, and he'll do that. He would obviously do that.
Fill out
Cohen,
the rotation.
Yep.
If there's a piece that they need at the deadline, whether it's bullpen, whether it's in the lineup that can be a difference maker, he'll do it. And then next offseason, figure out whether you're going to pounce on Soto or re-sign Alonso. So this is kind of a 2 to 3 year window to go win a World Series, a 5-year plan,
but
whatever.
It starts with this massive import.
Dude, that's the point. That it all, in my mind, blows up if you don't get him, because where are you getting the ace? I don't want to hear about Glass.
I don't know.
Like, it's not Glass now. It's not. This is the guy.
You got to get him.
He's it, and that's why, BT, I have to believe in Steve. I do, but I have to believe in Steve. He's got to get Yamamoto. Otherwise, it's a bust.
And he was strutting in today, and I love to see it. I've said for a long time, listen, we do our little Yankee Met dance, and it's fun, and it is what it is, and it's, goes back to when we were kids in the street. No, Mattingly, no, Hernandez, no, Ricky, no, Darryl, whatever. But I think it's supposed to be a galaxy of stars. We're not supposed to have left fielders who hit 212 or revolving doors with prospects who really aren't it, or 60% of each rotation with some dead weight. This is the Yankees, and this is now the Mets with Cohen's checkbook. So there should be an infusion of star power this offseason. Yamamoto 1, Soto for the Yankees 2, maybe Bellinger. Let's go. It's supposed to be this way.
I'm genuinely curious if Met fans believe in Steve, because not that this is it, but this is the biggest test to date. He's already
believe in him as much as they did, or believe in him going forward. I believe that it's diminished a little. See, I think that's kind of the point. Do you think that I'm right with that? You're a Mets guy.
I think, now it's not me.
I got you.
But I do think that there are a lot of Met fans who are, not getting the job done in 5-year window. But they're looking at it, to me, they're looking at it the wrong way. He has tried.
Yep.
It just hasn't worked out. But this is the one move that can set them up for success in the next few years, this year and beyond. If this doesn't happen, they're kind of screwed as far as getting an ace. They're just not going to have one. And again, there were questions about Yamamoto too, but this is the one that they have to get.
I like it. Listen, I like Happy Sal. He came in. He was straight. He's got his Mets hoodie on today, like a proud peacock.
I believe in Steve, BT.
He's ready.
You backed Zach and believed in Zach.
All right, buddy. You don't have to always take your shots, because very soon it will be baseball season, and if you're 31 and 38, you're going to be getting hit hard from this side of the room.
If the Yankees get Yamamoto, I'll be crushed.
I just pray that it happens on the air. BT and Sal on the Fan on this Wednesday. By the way, we are working on Friday, so we'll be here for the Jet stuff. And obviously, if you're driving around, be careful. Road's still a little slick. Poured last night. If you go to Grandma's, if you're starting the road trips today. But keep us here. We're here for you all day. Looking forward to it.
Driving home last night sucked. I was actually listening to McMonagle, and I thought he sounded good. Kept me up for the hour home in the rain. It was awful last night. safe travels, everybody. I know it's a big travel day. Actually, the city's kind of empty today.
I was. Yes, it was tough today. Pretty easy getting in. So let's get to these calls. 877-337-6666. BT and Sal inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Friends of Town Fair remind you that you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Very quickly, 10 seconds before we get these calls. The Mets very well might get Yamamoto, but that's not what's going to change the juju, which was lost a year ago for the New York Mets. It's not going to be the new manager. It's not going to be maybe the growth of the prospects. You know what it's going to be?
The bench coach?
No, it's
What?
not going to be the bench coach. It's going to be Lindor finally paying off the bet with McNeil.
I
The
love
curse
it.
is lifted, so maybe the clouds are dissipating.
Put that to
for the
bed.
Mets.
Yeah, exactly. Put that to bed. By the way, we have some issues on the show. We have to pay off some of the
What's
bets
that?
pretty soon.
What bets?
Well,
the BT and Sal sign.
I still owe you that one.
Yes, you
and
do.
I'm ready to go, but
Yeah,
you got to
yeah.
make this. And
I
then,
get you.
and then you're going to have to go to Roll and Roaster when the
Oh, I
Jets
am
don't make
going to
the
do
playoffs.
that. We got a lot of
Don't
balls
think I
juggling.
forgot about that.
I wish you did. All right, Chris in Manhattan. Sal is confident. I am not as confident that he's going to be a Met. But what do you think, Chris? What's going on, buddy? How are you?
I love you. I love you guys. Sal, I knew that this morning. I'm with you, Sal.
There we go, Chris.
There we go. Extremely confident. First off, if you guys bet again, is there going to be a Bronco involved like the Norm McNeil, or is he going to keep it a little bit less?
Well, I mean, listen, by the way, he makes $30 million a year. Get him Bronco's a great car, but I mean, come on, get him a Lamborghini or something. A little bit of a mooch. Not a mooch because he paid off, but a little bit of the cheap way out.
Did he pick that car?
I
I
don't
want to
know.
know.
Is it custom made?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Okay, we need to follow up on that. But listen, I agree with you, Sal, for a couple of reasons. One, I think if Yamamoto is gettable, the Mets will get him. And I think why I'm more confident than ever is because of what's happening with the organization. What I'm seeing with Stearns, creating this finally, Cohen has learned, creating this structure with somebody who knows how to keep an organization running. Even these little hires that Stearns has made, bringing that guy Gross over, all these under-the-radar things, to me, shows the next level of commitment. That's why I'm more confident than ever.
There you go. I believe in Steve, and thank you for the call, Chris. I think Met fans have to realize. Now, look, I do understand that I'm setting myself up for potential disaster.
That's part of being a fan.
But I do truly believe at my core in this owner. I believe in Steve Cohen. If you don't, then what are we doing here? So this is the one move. He's proven himself with Verlander, Scherzer, or whatever. Lindor going out there bringing guys back, whether it's Diaz, Nemo. Like, you don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. Like the Mets used to with losing Zach Wheeler and all that. I know.
They lost Darryl. I mean, going back way before
way back.
Zach. I mean, it's been always an issue for the Mets.
I know with his Reyes is
I
another
was
one.
going to say, right, yeah.
I know with his actions that he cares about winning.
Yep.
Now, I also know he's smart, and he's not going to be bamboozled here. He's not going to be reckless and all that stuff. But I believe Steve Cohen knows how important Yamamoto is to this team, and he's going to do whatever he can to get him here. And generally, the pinstripes are nice, but money talks. And a part of what makes the pinstripes so prestigious, or made it that, was that the Yankees were spending the most money.
Yeah, and they were winning. You knew that you were pretty much in.
Right.
You were going to be in a World Series or two, if not win one or two. You were
Right.
going to be right in the mix. You
And-
don't know that right now if you're going to sign with the Yankees. You don't know that for sure.
Both those things have changed. Like Garrett Cole, it sounds nice. Like he always wanted to be a Yankee and he wanted to play in the pinstripes, grew up a Yankee fan. Yeah,
Yep.
guess what? The Yankees also blew him out of the water with the offer. Like, where was the matching offer? Or did he turn down less? Like, Judge took less to come back, and
He
I give him
did.
credit for that.
He did.
But the free
Lot less.
agents that come here generally need more to come to New York.
But you're also creating now, and this worries me if I'm a Mets fan. I said this to Sal the other day. So forget about the Dodgers. If Yamamoto really does want the Yankees, as some people believe, and you've got to pay a Yankee tax to whatever that is,
Right.
60, 70, it's not going to be $10 million because once you split it in half with the taxes, it's fairly a push.
At least an extra year.
It's maybe an extra
Which
year.
is probably 20, 30 million, something like that.
It might be more than that.
Okay.
And if it is, then you do what you got to do to secure the asset that you really believe in. But now you've created a precedent where other free agents, all they have to do is, I always wanted to be a Yankee growing up, and what do you know? Okay, pony up, Stevie Cohen. That's an extra $40 million to get me to come to Queens. That's a dangerous parameter to set.
Agreed. However, he's not dumb. He's not going to do that with Cody Bellinger or anybody else.
What about next year with the next great Japanese player or the next Soto or the next whomever who wins? There's always superstars.
But true.
I don't mean the B-, I mean the A+ guys.
True, but I think that this is a rare circumstance to where you might have the player maybe wanting to go to the Yankees for less than the Mets would offer or than the highest value. I don't believe that's going to be the case with Soto or the majority of guys. And if it is, I think Cohen's going to be smart and say, look, we want you, but here's our line in the sand. He may do that with Yamamoto, but I think he knows this is the one. I hope he knows this is the one that's worth going all in for. If you have to pay a Mets tax, Yankee tax, whatever you want to call it, for an extra year and a half, whatever it is on that, obviously one more year, but give him, $35 million a year instead of 20, but whatever it may be.
Yep.
Hey, you
got to do it.
If you're going to do it for a potential star from Japan who's 25 years of age.
And by the way, you make so much of that money back.
That's what I mean. This would pay it in dividends down the road too.
It really would. Like whether it's Matsui or Tanaka. Let's just say the Yankees get Soto and the Mets get Yamamoto.
Right.
Okay?
Which I think, by the way, is the perfect offseason for both.
That would be exactly how I would identify each one as well. The Yankees finally need a lefty stick, and the Mets need an absolute ace. And then you put Senga too, and then those young guys who are those young pitchers who are coming who aren't quite ready yet. Maybe by the time, those guys, Senga and Yamamoto are 27, 28, they're ready to go. And it's a really good equation. But the money, remember what was the beer that they had splashed on the right field wall at Yankee Stadium? Was it Sapporo? Whatever it was. Even if you pay $40 million more for Yamamoto versus $40 million more for Soto, I think your revenue stream is bolstered significantly more by the Japanese dollar than a great player like Soto.
And maybe the Mets already got a little taste of that with Kodai Senga. Ohtani was available. I know the Mets are supposed to be all in on him, but if he doesn't want to come here, Yamamoto's the guy.
You better get him, though. Mike's in Massapequa. Well, there's no guarantee that you will. Mikey, what's going on, bud?
Good morning, guys, and happy Thanksgiving to your families. How are you?
You too, Mike.
Well, good, Mike. Same to you, pal.
All right. The first question would be Brennan and Carr or Rolling Roaster?
Well, this is an issue because it's come up a lot. It's actually part of a bet that Sal and I have. My first job was at I've said this a few times. My first job was at Rollin' Roaster. I think it was the summer after my freshman year in high school. I was a busboy. But Brennan and Carr equated to more late night, drunken swing bys a little bit later. Not quite freshman year, maybe sophomore. I'm torn.
Moving into sports, right? Here's what I think a major factor is. I do think the Yankees are going to get Soto. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My belief is that the kid that you're talking about with the Mets,
Yamamoto.
I believe he's going to go. Yeah, I believe he's going to go to the Dodgers. But I do think that the Mets have a chance for somebody like Aaron Nola. I do believe he could give them innings and things of that sort, either the Mets or the Yankees, right? But as far as being a little bit delusional, right? Let's think about this, right? Cohen, he gets Verlander, he gets Scherzer. Right, they're going to put this team together. They're going to win at all, whatever the dollar amount is, and so on. Right. I think that the Mets need to piece a team together, and I do believe that fella there would be a good start to it. But there's just too many holes. I mean, there's just too many holes.
See, I don't see it that way, Mike. They have holes, sure.
Thanks, Mike.
And remember, Diaz is coming back. Tell me a bullpen in Major League Baseball that's going to get a better return than that. I don't care who you go out there and sign. There's no better upgrade in the bullpen than Edwin Diaz coming back for the Mets. That's number one. And they'll piece together the bullpen and figure it out midway through the year. So I'm not worried about that because they have the back end. To me, BT, the way you build a team, the most important thing, I want a back-end closer that I trust and a top-of-the-rotation guy. I don't need 2 or 3 aces. The Mets for years been caught up in this 4 or 5 aces thing.
Yeah.
Bullcrap.
Even going back to Generation K with Wilson, Pulsifer, and those guys.
Meanwhile, none of them hit. I mean, the 2 were busts, and one had to come into become a reliever to have some success.
That was good with a different team.
Yeah, exactly right. So you need I firmly believe you need an ace. That's why I don't think the Yankees need Yamamoto. Could they use more pitching? Sure, but they have Garrett Cole. You need the top dog. The Mets don't have that. Senga's good. He's not an ace. They need the ace. If it wasn't Yamamoto, it needed to be somebody else, but I don't see that. I don't look at Blake Snell as an ace. I know he pitched like one last year. I don't trust Blake Snell. So Yamamoto's got to be the guy. Now from there, the rest of the team should be easy. There are probably about 5-6 decent options for a DH. You can find a bat that could produce certainly more than Vogelback, certainly more power than Vogelback. You could find on-base guys. Like, they have Alonso and Lindor, and you want to throw in McNeil on that lineup as well. Alvarez, a potential star. Like, Their lineup is not as bad as we make it seem based on their results last year, and they could add a bat. If you add Yamamoto, I think the Mets are looking at a mid-80s, potentially 90-win team.
That's a little ambitious for me, but the Yamamoto stuff in terms of the importance of the Mets, moving forward just beyond this year, I'm totally with you. It's a massive moment for them. Listen, I'm a Yankees fan. I don't want to see them get him, but I understand what you're saying.
Dude,
I truly do.
I'm telling you now, I'm not going to say I'm going to quit, but if the Yankees get Yamamoto and Soto, everything I said about believing in Steve and the Mets are taking over the town, it's the complete opposite of that. Well, yeah, the total opposite. It would be the Yankees are back to being the freaking Yankees.
Here's where
I can't sit here if they get both of these guys.
Here's where I would say you'd be unfair. If Cohen's offer is simply better and Yamamoto says, I want to go to the Bronx, you can't abandon him at that point.
I know, but
that's not his fault.
I can't. I'm not abandoning him.
But you'll still be irrational for a moment or two, and then you'll come back to Cohen for the next guy.
I don't see a way out. See, that's twofold because that's not only the Mets missing out, it's the Yankees being built back up.
Oh, listen, that's your problem, not mine.
Yeah, exactly.
877 potentially 877-337. It's only a problem that I can only wish that this problem pops up on our radar. It would be glorious. BT and Sal on the Fan 877-337-6666. I mean, the bottom line is this. The Jets are hanging by a thread. The Giants, the big story is, outside of rooting for the local kid DeVito and, stabilizing things a little bit, you're worried about the draft pick, which I get. Football season is a second away from being over, and the spotlight is going on the Yanks and the Mets. We are a baseball city at the end of the day. Both teams have a massive amount of holes. There are superstar platinum players available, and if these teams swing and miss, it is going to be gory around here. Unacceptable.